If you're off to a jumble sale this weekend and you spot my first guest, cling on to his coattails. He's only 10, so it won't be easy. And he comes from Cardiff, and he seems to have quite an eye for bits of old junk that then turn out to be worth a fortune. Let's meet this infant phenomenon, young James Harries.
In the late 1980s, as Thatcher's Britain ran headlong into boom and bust, this face became one of the iconic images of precocious free enterprise.
James here, sorry James. He's got what you call the Midas touch. He has turned his pocket money into a small fortune already.
Antiques always should have wear and tear, and they always used to have, they always should look old, and they always should talk to you.
10-year-old James Harris from Cardiff was invited to appear on the nation's top television programmes, and Wogan, where he was hailed as a brilliant young entrepreneur.
And they should
sort of aura.
Buy me.
Buy me, they should say.
We've got an Antique Roadshow star with us today, David Batty. Where's David? David, where are you? Come over here and meet young James. What do you think of him?
I think he's a miracle. Quite extraordinary.
You could use him when you're around.
We certainly could, yes, no doubt.
To broadcasters, this child prodigy was another Mozart.
What did you pay for that?
20 pence.
20 pence?
Yes.
What's it worth?
It's worth £400.
By 1990, James was a household name, and viewers were fascinated by this miniature Harpo Marx lookalike with his seemingly encyclopedic knowledge of antiques. He seemed to possess the Midas touch, and even published a book telling us how we could become rich and famous just like him. He seemed almost too good to be true.
Hello and welcome to People Today. At the age of 4, James Harries bought his own antiques. Since then, he's run a florist shop, written a book, and plans to become the country's youngest Prime Minister. But thankfully, James has found time in his busy schedule to be with us this morning, and he's here with his business partner and mother, Kay. Somebody remarked when you came in that you look almost Dickensian. Do you feel like you've come from another age almost?
I thought I'd come from the past because of my love of antiques, but I couldn't have come from the past because, you know, I'm so knowledgeable. So I thought that I must have come from the future.
With every year that passed, the strange-looking boy was becoming more confident, and the entire Harries family were moving rapidly up the ladder of success.
You talked about you wanted to change things, and I mentioned as well that you'd like perhaps a bash at Prime Minister.
If that's the way I can get my theories over, and if that's the way that I can progress this country and make it what it should be, then I will have to be the Prime Minister.
He was every TV producer's wet dream, and a gift to every newspaper editor in the country. But something wasn't quite right.
Well, yes, I mean, I've waited so long for this now. I don't want to wait any longer. I've waited months now for that money, and...
Then came the recession of the early 90s. The family business fell on hard times, and James discovered that his famous Midas touch had suddenly gone into reverse.
I'm sorry, I will have to take you to court because, I've waited...
As the recession got worse, the Harries family came up with a cunning solution to their financial problems. They attempted to sue the government for £1 million for mismanaging the economy.
That one businessman is so furious and frustrated with the government's economic mismanagement and its effects on his business and on his livelihood that he is suing the Treasury in the High Court. The plaintiff is a Mr. Mark Harris, a Cardiff businessman. I may say this is a wholly objective matter because Mr. Harris says he has no political affiliations and no personal animosity towards the government or any of its members.
In the 1980s, we all bought properties, and we assumed that, the recession had ended. But the recession did hurt my businesses, and that's why we tried to sue the British government.
That's a really unusual step for somebody to do.
Well, not really, not to us, really. Because we knew that the government has mismanaged the country's affairs, and we wanted to do something about it.
But there's no way the government is actually going to let you win.
Well, we got it accepted, but the problem is we lost. But we are appealing.
That's a matter of opinion. Surprisingly, though, they lost the appeal. They'd gone from rags to riches, but now the rags were beckoning them again. Things went from bad to worse until the day when James's father set fire to the family's fancy dress shop and was banged to rights for arson and insurance fraud.
So, a jury decided Mark Harris set fire to his Cardiff fancy dress shop and attempted to obtain £346,000 from general accident insurance. Peter Jacobs, representing Harris, said that the effect of the fire, whoever caused it, had been devastating. But in sentencing Harris to a total of 5.5 years jail,
James returned to television to plead his father's innocence, but to no avail.
Of course I want to make money, so I can get my father's appeal. Because, you know, I think, ladies and gentlemen, you should know that my father was arrested of fraud for setting fire to his own shop. So therefore, and it's a complete farcical evidence, so I need a proper barrister and solicitor to work on this case night and day, and that's why I need the money.
You're telling us that everybody hates you, that people don't like you or your family, and that you don't think that that's your fault?
Oh, no.
You haven't gone... I mean, for instance, you won't go to school?
No, I won't. No, I won't. I won't go to school because, well, I just don't think the children are ladies and gentlemen, and I don't think the teachers are either.
I think we had it tougher than you had in school. I don't think you had it.
Well, you weren't with me, were you, Wogan? So you wouldn't know.
It's incredible. If I'd have spotted that when I was 14, I'd have got a damn good cuff around the ear.
How would James's life turn out? In a rare prophetic moment, Terry Wogan had posed this question at the start of James's media career.
What you're going to be like when you're 20, I can't imagine.
Well, since you asked, Terry, like this. I don't know about you, but there's been a sort of a lot to take in already, and frankly, I think that this is a good time for a cup of hot sweet tea and a commercial break. If I was any other hip, young documentary filmmaker, I'd be saying that I was so fascinated by James / Lauren Harris and the family that nurtured him that I just had to meet them all. But I wasn't. However, the producer told me that for professional reasons, i.e. money, I had to go to Cardiff and spend a few days with them. But as it turns out, I was almost glad that I went, because the Harrys proved to be a most extraordinary family. Kay Harris, Doctor of Metaphysics, previously a stripper in Africa, a former boss of a high-class escort agency in Soho, and qualified hypnotherapist. Mark Harris, private detective, sued government unsuccessfully for £1 million, imprisoned for burning down his own fancy dress shop, former holder of world record for making largest Yorkshire pudding, and Doctor of Metaphysics. Patrick Harris, local radio DJ and Doctor of Metaphysics. Adam Harris, expert in astral projection, part-time private detective and Doctor of Metaphysics. Lauren, formerly James Harris, antique dealer, adult child prodigy, master's degree in dramaturgy and Doctor of Metaphysics. That's me, by the way.
Tell you what, there's a distinct lack of antiques here, aren't there? There are no antiques.
Hello.
Lauren, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Great to meet you.
Do you drink tea?
I'd love tea.
I should be using a jug. This is not good. My mother would not be pleased.
I must say I'm a bit of a dizzy blonde, so you'll get used to that.
Where's my shoe? There it is. In the next. Oh, goodbye. I don't know.
It's disgusting in there.
One little thing I have to do, which you can't film me do. The thing is, I always lose things. My bag is my bag here. It's probably in there, actually. It's ready, yes. My bag.
Come out of this mess.
Oh, wait a minute.
you will not come in.
My first impression of Lauren was that Thatcher's child had become
Yes.
Mrs. Thatcher.
And that's Robbie Williams. My Robbie. Oh, what's happened?
Well, at first, Lauren thought she was gay. Once I got over that, and we explored that with Lauren, we tried to live with, we lived with Lauren as being gay, and then Lauren realised she wasn't gay, that she wants to become a woman, basically, and that's where it came about. I realised when I was younger, I was interested in Transformers, she was interested in Care Bears.
What, you played football and she didn't, that kind of vibe?
Definitely. She was with the girls in our junior school, and I was with the boys.
You know that there is something that is different. And you may feel as though Laura might have been a homosexual. So we helped her through that.
Were you happy with that?
Yes. So we took her to clubs.
Is there any history of homosexuality in your family?
Absolutely not. No.
So Lauren was the first?
Yes.
Wow.
So we thought we would help her with that and find out what she wanted.
Right.
And we found out that that wasn't what Lauren wanted. Didn't like it at all, being in these places.
What, gay clubs?
Yeah.
Right.
And of course, then we sort of realised that she was born in a man's body, a girl.
I mean, you're saying that your penis was redundant?
I didn't want it to work.
So you've had your penis removed?
Yes.
Right.
Well, let's face it. Anatomically, I'm a woman. I suddenly realised, what I was, and then the only time my body's been sexually active is since the operation. I was a virgin until I had my operation.
Okay, fair enough. And how are you finding that?
Oh, it's lovely. It's fine. I think you've got to know your body, though. Like Joan Collins said, you've got to know your body and as a sexual object, and then you know what to do with it. Doctors are amazed. They're amazed. They said to me they couldn't believe it. Anyway, I've been abroad and, they just nobody would ever know.
I'm all right.
Okay.
But whether she was James or Lauren, she had always loved the camera.
I've got lots of natural gifts, so...
Like what?
Well, being on camera, first of all.
What, you think that's a gift?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I think it's a gift. I've had it since I was 10 years old.
What, being on camera?
Yes.
Which I guess is being in the public eye, is being a performer.
Yes, and you do perform, but then again, I've never performed. I've always been myself. Always been natural.
Yet, listening to Lauren perform at a karaoke evening to which she invited us, some might wonder whether she's really the gifted performer she really thinks she is.
So I was with Oprah Winfrey. The problem was with the programme was there was this person and this boy, and he said that he was supposed to be a child genius, and he said that he could go on holiday and feed his fish. Or while he was away. This was it. This was the reason he was on. I was on, of course.
As what, a child prodigy?
As a child prodigy.
Why? What was your prodigious...
Child genius,
In what respect?
Antiques and things like that,
Like what? No, I need to know more.
Okay. Well, the fact that you could buy a statue for 5 pence and...
No, I know that, but I mean, apart from the antiques, what was your other kind of field of genii?
I don't know. People just seem to want me to go on television to talk to me. Yes,
right.
yes.
Because you did look kind of startling, didn't you? I remember that. I remember very clearly.
The bow ties and
a velvet suit. Was that right? A velvet suit, was it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Velvet jacket.
A velvet jacket.
Yes.
See, this is what interests me. I mean, a bow tie and a velvet jacket, a genius does not make. You know what I mean? So you must have had some other quality. In fact, local antique dealers told me that James / Lauren was never quite the gifted genius that her parents and the TV shows wanted us to believe. What terrible pressure that must have been for a small child, being paraded around as though they were another Mozart, when in fact they could barely play chopsticks.
I just saw Terry Wogan and I'd forgotten how young he was.
At one point, the family even admitted that this apparent expertise with antiques had been largely an illusion.
I mean, respect to you, by the way. This could just all be a con.
Of course it could
That was a con. The thing is, before the show, Dad told me that if there's anything you don't understand, when I was only 10, he said that just say it's within the 1800s.
I would say it would be near to in the 18th century, and it's very difficult to give a price, but it would have to be in the hundreds.
I said all this and it was a load of baloney.
And yet at other times, Lauren still insisted she was another David Dickinson.
So did you still have this gift?
You always have it.
Good. So
Still
me
here
and
now.
you can go to an antiques place somewhere?
According to local antique dealers, many of Lauren's valuations and appraisals during our day out were pretty wide of the mark.
I'd say £10 for that.
225 quid.
Well, 70s, 60s, to me it's the same thing. Maybe 20s, I'm not sure. No, it's just something I do. It's easy. Easy peasy.
And anyway, she seemed less interested in valuing some exhibits than getting her leg open.
Glass is out, pine is out. That's why there's so much pine here, let's face it. Everything's painted white now. Oh, God, harder. Oh. It's gonna break.
Lauren told me she wanted to escape from Cardiff, and it's easy to see why. She'd suffered endless prejudice from her neighbours. In fact, the entire family has been on the receiving end of local prejudice.
There's an estate behind us, which, to be completely honest, we get most of the problems from. Every Friday, Saturday night, we're always on guard. We always keep the curtains open, see if we can see anything, see if anybody throws stones, and this happens all the time.
You learn to realise that they're not, that they're quite sad people then.
Basically, somebody, again, threw a stone at the window. We went out, and there were a group of them, about five or six of them, walking away. And then one of them, a little one, maybe about 15 or something, got the nerve to walk up. So he walked up to us and pulled this gun out of it, started holding it like that in the films and things like that.
It's not so much the stones, it's the words that hurt me.
Really?
It's the way they run past the house and they say tranny and, tranny and, that's what, when Lauren hears that, that hurts me.
Their local unpopularity was demonstrated to me several times whilst we were filming.
He's a fucking dickhead. His fucking son's a fucking transvestite.
People are very ignorant in that respect. There are 15, perhaps 17,000 people in this country like Lauren, trying to deal with the matter.
The enemy of prejudice is education. Indeed, the family's educational and professional achievements seem to know no bounds, ranging from counselling and marriage guidance to private detective work and metaphysics.
Lauren is a doctor, isn't she?
Yeah.
I mean, what is she a doctor of?
A doctor of metaphysics.
Metaphysics?
Yeah.
Oh, right. And she's got an MA in dramaturgy. Dramaturgy, what is that?
I mean, she hasn't explained it to me, completely honest.
There must have been a great celebration in the house, when she got her doctorate. I mean, was there a party for the family,
Yes. It was sort of a meal out in the local Chinese, I think it was.
You saw Lauren's CV and Roger said how big Lauren's CV, Mark's CV and my CV is like that. Because
what's in it?
Promotions we did when we were in catering for 17 years, 2 world records that Mark made, and the fellow from the Western Daily Press, you say you'll always keep in contact with us, won't you? Because they always know somehow there's a story around us, because we're that type of people. We do marriage guidance, counselling, we do anything.
Again, your whole family appeared to to become counsellors.
Well, that's right. I mean, what happened that we suddenly realised that a lot of the work was matrimonial.
The private detection work?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we decided that people were getting very unhappy. And we thought we'd better take some courses on counselling and perhaps bring this in as well, just try and save the marriages rather than end them. So that is the reason why we took up counselling, to help people to survive, to help people together, because people do go offline, they go off track sometimes, they do a silly mistake, and we have to try and get them back together.
And are you successful at that?
Very.
I work part-time as a private detective. I work on the computers and that sort of thing.
With your dad?
Sometimes, yes. We have like a counselling system and a private detective business.
I've got to say, this counselling stroke private detection scenario is quite unique.
Yeah.
I mean, have people come over to you to case study your work?
No.
So nobody knows about this kind of work at all?
They're very separate. We have Relate with Partner, which is a counselling group. We have fully qualified counsellors, which my father is as well, and my mother is. And basically, it came about because we started helping somebody a while ago, just helping them in their lives, a couple of people, friends. And then we thought, well, you know, why not carry on that? It was a few years ago, and why not carry on that and become qualified and actually counsel people?
You don't have a formal qualification?
Oh, I do.
Oh, you do?
Oh, I do. I noticed your colleague was talking about metaphysics earlier, and I have a doctorate in metaphysics, because I find that metaphysics is the answer to, you know, unlocking the mind. In my office, I probably have so they've just put my qualifications up now, and I have about 15 different qualifications. But the only reason I trained was because I could then say to people would know, well, she has that qualification.
Of course.
But my training...
Otherwise they wouldn't trust you, would they?
Exactly, but my greatest training has been my life.
I could set myself up as a lifestyle guru.
Yes.
And I wouldn't need to have, you know, plaques or
no,
diplomas.
they don't need that. But I don't agree with that in this country. They're not strict enough.
They're certainly not strict enough, because when I looked more closely at their degrees and qualifications, I noticed a curious thing. A number of them came from the Cardiff College of Humanistic Studies, which is located in Tudor Cottage. Their house is the college, and they've certified themselves.
And has Lauren ever expressed any desire to have counselling?
Yes, she had to have counselling.
Has she had counselling?
Oh, yes.
Right, who was the counsellor, do you know?
I can't remember now offhand.
Oh, really? So it's just a counsellor in Cardiff?
There's a number of counsellors that you have to go and see, because you have to go through procedures.
You have to go through procedures in order to get a sex change operation, don't you?
That's right.
Right.
My mother is my counsellor, really, to be perfectly honest, and she is a counsellor, and her business name's Leslie Stewart. So what we did is we said she was my counsellor in between.
In between?
In between the stages, because I had to wait 2 years for the operation.
Right. So your mum became your counsellor?
Well, she is a counsellor anyway.
Okay. She was your counsellor?
Yes, as well as other people that I had to see.
But a different name, she didn't use her real name?
Well, she doesn't, because that's her business name.
What,
Leslie Stewart. Yes.
Then I remember what Lauren had said. In some previously unbroadcast footage we'd acquired of a sex change operation. Filmed in 2001, it was highly revealing.
Well, my mother, she broke her ankle, so she can't come. My father can come. But we can talk to each other on the phone. And Leslie can come to see me as well, and Patrick.
What Lauren didn't mention here is that her mother and Leslie, who counselled her for a sex change operation, are in fact one and the same person. Being a doctor herself, Lauren presumably knows what she's doing. And before long, she was giving me the benefit of her holistic wisdom in her seminar room.
Oh, I think you're insecure. I think you swear too much for some reason, because it makes you feel comfortable. You like to be in control. You like to walk into a house with a beer and...
With a beer?
Beer, like you did yesterday.
Oh,
and
right.
swear your head off. And talk about sex a lot, which is strange, isn't it?
Strange.
Yeah, why do you talk about sex so much?
I think it's because I don't get it enough.
So just don't talk about it so much.
All right, I won't.
And you've got a girlfriend, so why don't you have sex with your girlfriend?
I can't talk about that.
You can't talk about that? So there's a problem there?
Yeah.
Right. Well, there shouldn't be. I mean,
So it's about anal sex, and I can't.
Right. Well, there shouldn't be a problem with sex, because as far as I'm concerned, when you're a couple, you should have sex all the time. And there are lots of people that I see, and they only have sex maybe twice or once a week. And I think, well, why?
Twice or once a week?
Yes.
I wouldn't mind a bit of that.
No, if you love somebody,
Especially at my age.
You should have sex all the time.
Do you think so, Doug?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Do you have sex all the time?
Well, I'm talking about you now.
Okay.
You can't ask the questions.
All right.
Right. Well, I'll end it because I'm going to say that you are insecure and you need to start being a lot more warmer with people. Give a bit more of yourself. Don't close yourself.
See, you could be talking about you here.
Are you? No, I did. When you see, I like to. When I see people, I want to see them. I want to see their soul. I want to see who they are. I want to see the love in them. I want to see, when I see my patients, everybody who I see are happy. They're nice people, because they know they have a problem and they accept it. And
Do you get paid for this?
Well, not a lot.
As for those bricks through the windows, they didn't start with Lauren's sex change. They've been going on for years and years and years.
Well, you see, every programme that I've been on, I've had bricks for my window, our door was rammed, and obviously, like that, nobody likes my family, and obviously, by the looks of things, nobody likes me. But what I will say
James,
is that...
we like you.
No,
but that's probably your own fault, because you're standing away from people. You're divorcing yourself.
Oh, no. You see, people see their own outlook of me. They look at me dressed in a bow tie and smartly dressed, and they think, oh, snotty-nosed, spoiled brat boy. And I'm afraid that is the way they think. And obviously, all my family wants to do is be people's friend.
Well, if you followed my advice at the end of part 1 and had a nice cup of tea, please believe me when I advise a strong drink before part 3, which will be with you after these commercial announcements. To judge from the family's house, you'd think the Harrys were the lords of the manor. But this apparent Tudor cottage is actually a mock Tudor cottage, with half-timbered features made from creosoted planks and situated not in a country estate, but smack on the edge of a council estate. And it struck me that at the root of their problems with their neighbours and with life in general is not Lauren's sex change, but good old-fashioned, no-nonsense British snobbery.
We've got a lot of problems. There's a lot of prejudice and things.
In the family?
No.
Oh, outside?
Outside of the family. They're building a brand new council estate now.
It started when my husband bought a Rolls Royce and they became jealous.
But surely they have some friends locally.
I don't know any of my neighbours.
How long have you been here?
Since 1987, I think.
But try as they might to keep the council estate at bay, it permeates Lauren's dress sense. James was always dressed as the nice aristocratic boy he never was, but the process of changing gender has revealed Lauren's true social origins.
And I should have a pedicure, because you can see...
Well, forget that.
Then again, it looks nice with the jeans.
It's too low. It looks as though it's going to... you're going to jump it from there.
Too short for your body.
Ready?
Yeah, ready. What do you think?
Right.
Let's have it. And yeah, it's fine.
See that wig?
No, it's all right. You have it in the pink. I'll try it in the pink.
Right.
Did you guess I was a 14?
No, it was because you asked me for the 14.
Oh, of course, yes. Because some people say I'm an 8, you know.
Oh, right. No, I wouldn't have thought you were
No,
14.
no. I know. It's because I'm tall, like Marilyn Monroe, you know. She was a 16. My mother would like me to wear pigtails and a sailor suit. She doesn't like mini skirts. Doesn't like... She thinks that you should always wear flat shoes. But she's got good taste.
Trying to keep the council estate at bay means they're totally isolated.
From what I gather, all the research that I've read, James didn't have many friends.
No. It was the same.
So
it was the same with all of us, really. I mean, I left school when I was 11. Normally, I'd leave school
when you were
I was,
11.
Yes.
Really? Why?
Yes. I think it was my family's decision. The only bad part about that was I didn't start making friends until I was quite
late.
Quite late. It took me about 16, 17 years to get some real friends.
Okay. Have you got cousins?
Yes. We have, which we don't really talk to, unfortunately. To be honest, in 3.5 years, we didn't get one call from one of our relatives, which is, you know, sort of upsetting, but it's one of the reasons why we don't sort of speak to them.
My family, you know, they cause me pain, and I prefer not to have anything to do with them. If they ever came to me and they said, I'm really sorry for what I did then and then and then, I would be glad to speak to them, but the fact is they caused me a lot of pain.
Their isolation and persecution serves only to increase their sense of innate superiority even further. And their dabbling in spirituality and the occult makes them seem even more like a small religious cult, but definitely not a sect of charismatics.
Is this true that you were, after you did the Oprah Winfrey show, that you were considered by some people, cults, to be the second coming?
Yes.
What happened? Because I heard that they followed you around the world.
Yes.
What happened?
Just fizzled out. That was in Holland, though. They kept saying I was the second coming.
Who did?
We got articles written, and I see auras, you see, colours around people.
And while Mark was inside, he studied, and, you know, for 3.5 years, and he found his spiritual side. And he passed that on to me while he was inside, because I was too much of the Western world, you know what I mean?
My father actually he was the first one to get me interested in it. When he was a young boy, he had an out-of-body experience.
And he'd write in his letters, and he'd say how he would move the crystals and how he was astral projecting. And he found the spiritual side that was lacking in our lives.
I read one book called The Third Eye.
The boy's tutor, the only good thing he ever did was give Adam this book, which was by Lobsang Rampa, who was a Tibetan Lama.
The author managed to astral project and things like that. And
astral project, what's that?
Yeah, it means leaving your body while you're still alive, basically.
Back in 1992, Adam even demonstrated his powers of astral projection for the TV cameras. This is it. Not to be confused with falling asleep on the sofa.
Adam is very much into astral projection. He really believes he's working on his spirit leaving his body, so we can't go into that a great deal because it's going to baffle your viewers too much.
How ironic that the inspiration for their spiritual beliefs should have been exposed as a fraud, not a Tibetan mystic at all, but Cyril Henry Hoskins, a man with a beard from Devon, and about as genuine as their doctorates, bought from a diploma mill in America. So just what do you need to get a PhD? Well, apparently lots of life experience. Oh, and $695 cash. But maybe they offer a special family rate. After all, it could be a bit of a financial burden for an entire family to become doctors. Well, Lauren may be seeking nirvana, but she seems no happier as a woman than she was as a boy.
Lauren was always very happy on the shows. Look at the screen and see the magnetism that Lauren has. She loved it. She always loved it. She thrived on it. She didn't see any harm on it. She loved it. She was a very happy person.
She often speaks as though the only true happiness she can imagine involves being constantly on television.
So have you got all degrees at that then? Are you really clever?
I think I'm just clever of life, you know. I'm a great animal lover, as you can see. I've got 5 cats and a dog, so and I'm also a vegetarian.
For the audience at home, I should just point out that you do want to be in television, don't you?
Oh, yes, yes. Well, it's something I've done since I was 10 years old, so you just don't get... it's like when you're being given a DD blanket, you don't let go. And that's a bit like it is with me.
What, the hint of fame that you've kind of...
No. It's just that when you like something, you don't want to stop doing it, do you? Like you would agree with that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but it's like, if you like heroin, then your best bet is to stop doing it, otherwise you become a junkie.
Yes, but then again, television isn't heroin. I always say television is, to me, it's just the second best to sex.
Really? In Lauren's world, sex and television seem inextricably intertwined.
Lauren thinks when she's on television, she'll meet more open-minded people. People will get to know her as who she is, not the fact that she's had a penis inverted and it's now a vagina.
Instead of making a documentary, I felt that Lauren was giving us a 3-day audition, trying out for every show she thought she could possibly fit into.
I mean, a job would be good on television. No, I shouldn't sing a song, should I? And then I could just do that and then move away and then know that I wasn't going to get any trouble. I want to sing Midnight, though.
Not now. Sit.
And it does come very naturally to me. No, I want to, though. And apparently I've got a lovely voice, so why not? I just dig it from somewhere, from within me.
OK, you want to sing Midnight, love? You sing Midnight. Sit down and sing Midnight.
No, I'll sing it while I go along. I like to shock when I do performance. I'll sing Midnight now, okay. Physicality and all that, you know, it shocks people so that they're drawn to you straight away. Midnight, not a sound from the pavement. It's not a difficult thing for me to do. As the moon lost her memory, she is smiling alone. I am who I am. In the lamplight, a withered leaf collect at my feet. I know I'm very good. And the wind begins to moan. You always need to work on things because you never quite are good enough. Daylight, all alone in the sunrise, I can dream of the old days. It was, I was beautiful then.
That's a fucking tranny house, isn't it? It frightens all of our kids.
Self-medicating on a few large brandies, Lauren gave us an insight into her manicured love life.
The Sourman came. He asked me to come in for some tea. So I came in for tea. I remember I had this huge wig on. He said, oh, I'm a jockey, a horse jockey. He was only tiny, and his flat was a pigsty.
You went to his flat?
Well, no, he invited me in for tea. And then he said, I'm a fashion designer. He said, what are you wearing? He said, it's just not right. They love tall blondes. I mean, I should know. I get more Arabs wanting to go out with me than ever. And then he suddenly wanted this, and he wanted sex with me then. He thought that it was normal. We didn't have sex, but other things happened, okay? I just didn't let him in. And then when I took my wig off, I had this big mark on my scalp here. He said, did I have brain surgery or something?
Oh, my God!
I haven't had a lot to drink. I've had 2
I know you
brandy.
haven't. You're full of excitement, aren't
No, I'm not.
Later, when I asked Lauren about her degree in dramaturgy, she invited me to attend a masterclass at her acting studio to see her at work with one of her students, Claire. As a fellow actor, I was naturally very keen to observe, but the session soon turned into something I'd never experienced at drama school.
Oh, right. So, your name is?
Claire.
Well, very nice to meet you, Claire. My name's Lauren. I'm your drama teacher now.
I felt that we had strayed beyond acting, and that drama had now turned into therapy.
You're just in a bloody mood again, aren't you?
I'm in a mood.
Mood again, oh yes, that's what it is. It's always you bloody well you.
I'm no clinical psychologist, unless you count those 4 years I spent in Vienna studying with Sigmund Freud. But this acting class seemed to me to be a classic case of transference. It appeared that Lauren wasn't just acting, she was acting out the reality of the real-life relationship with her own mother. Could this be what life is really like for the Harrys on the very rare occasions that there aren't any TV cameras in their home?
I've tried to get you help. I've contacted counsellors. I've done the best I bloody well can with you. Now it is your turn to go out in the world and get some boyfriends.
I don't want a boyfriend.
Why not?
I want my family to be right, and then my head will be right, and then I'll be right.
Why don't you want boyfriends?
Because I don't need any more aggro, you know. You've got a husband.
You need a man, because then you have a man, you have a child, and then you have a place to stay. 6 children I've got, right? And I've got another one on the bloody way, and I don't need you in here all the bloody time.
So
Just get lost out of my house.
No, I'm not.
Why not? Why not?
Because you got to change. You got to change, man.
Get out and get out now. And sit back down. Sit back down now. I said sit back down in your chair. I do what you're bloody told by your mother. Now, I'm your mother. You listen to what I bloody well say.
Why don't you start acting like a mother then?
Then she got so far into her role, she even turned on me.
Go away. Get off. Sod off. Sod off. Out. Go on, Keith. Out. Fed up with him. Out. Get out now. Just go.
And with that, I was thrown off my own show. Oh, the ignominy. How the hell did we get from this to this? If you followed my advice at the end of part 2 and had a stiff drink, I suggest you now head for the tranquilizers. Despite having been sent to Coventry by Lauren, I was still in Cardiff and preparing for a lunchtime showdown with the Harrys. There were some home truths I just had to get off my chest. But before that, Lauren had something she wanted to get off her ample chest. A speech about her daughter's love for her mother that completely contradicted the sentiments expressed in her drama class. A speech so gushing, it might almost have been scripted for her by her mother.
I am a woman, right? And I was never a man, I was a boy. When you said that my mother helped me, you know, made my career, etc. Well, my mother has got faults as well. She's not a saint. I do a lot for her. I do too much for her. I do her hair for her. She's like the queen. She lays in bed and I do everything for her. But that's because she does a lot for me. Because she counsels me, she helps me. She's made me who I am today. She is my best friend. And if people attack my mother, it's like attacking me. And I don't like it. And when I went to Manchester, I cried because she wasn't there. And I moved back home to Cardiff, knowing where I would go, knowing the problems I would get. But I went there because I wanted to be with my mother. Because I love my mother and I love my family.
This was high noon, time to confront the family with what I discovered about them all. Unlike other young, hip documentary filmmakers, I wasn't going to smile innocently at them on camera, then add a sarcastic voiceover later on from the safety of an edit suite. No, I wanted to say what I had to say to their face.
If I just butt in there, I just want to say something while Lauren's not here. This is an entirely separate entity. You're masquerading or whatever, it's entirely separate.
Masquerading.
Look, I've got this thing here, right? I didn't do any research, okay? Yeah. But I've got this document here which I've been reading. And to be quite honest, I don't understand how you can operate as counsellors. I just don't understand it. For a start, you bought your doctorate. You didn't study for it. You bought it.
No, but we know anyway. They saw our past qualifications.
What qualifications?
They have to write 20-page thesis for it.
All right, so I've got a PhD on then.
Yeah.
Oh, have I? Oh, fine, fair enough. Oh, look, there's one here. The Interfaith School of Theology, which is where you got your PhD. Did you get anything, Mark? Yeah, you did. You got a doctorate.
We had to do a thesis on that.
So you're all PhDs,
no, I'm not. It took about 6 months. Experience of metaphysics, the difference between the subconscious and the conscious mind. It's a matter of understanding the subconscious and the conscious mind. It was earned.
Why was it earned?
We don't buy anything.
The Cardiff College of Humanistic Studies. What is it?
A college in Cardiff.
Where is it?
Oh, check it out.
It's your house.
Yeah, because we run a college and we train people.
Where?
We train people in our office.
But I've got a map here, and it's your house.
That's just the administration. That's just the administration.
But what right do you have to give anybody a master's diploma with honours in acting and theatre?
Experience.
But this is absolute cock.
Because of our experience. Their experience in life.
We run a college and it's completely legal.
No, forget about this.
No, this is an issue. This is everything.
This is the classic end of a TV documentary, of course, the unmasking of the fraudsters.
Were you tape recording us in your house?
Is that your business?
We did.
Did you or didn't you?
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't, yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't believe you, because I heard the playback of it.
Of course you did. I heard you listening to it
I know.
this morning.
Most television people love exposing fraudsters because it makes them feel so self-righteous. But nobody ever exposes the methods of the TV people. You notice that? Rather odd, isn't it?
Right, the real problem here is that you masquerade, okay, as a qualified counsellor. And I believe there are people coming to you who obviously have problems who think that you're qualified because of these ludicrous diplomas that you put up on your wall.
Hang on a second. How many diplomas have you seen?
13. Oh, right. Jesus Christ, where'd you get all them from?
Well, what are you talking about? What about hypnotherapy? You've looked up hypnotherapy, you've looked up all of those?
Which you've got a degree in, have you?
Yes.
At this point, most documentary makers would carefully edit the shots to bring the programme to a satisfying climax that makes the fraudsters look bad and us, the television makers, look very good. But not us. In fact, it appears that we've edited it to make ourselves look even worse than the Harrises.
This is utter rubbish.
It's crap. College in Britain gets them.
I recognise a fucking liar when I see one.
Change the subject and change it now.
And I think you lot have got
19 years old.
I don't give a shit. Get off me. Yeah, you ought to go. This is ludicrous. Talking shite.
By now, Lauren had counselled herself to vacate the table and seek refuge elsewhere, leaving her parents and brothers to defend the family honour.
I think you've got problems here, right? There is something dysfunctional here. I'm a qualified counsellor.
Really?
Oh, yeah, it's obvious. I've got life experience, so I'm qualified. I'm a counsellor, just like you.
You can't understand what it's like to have a close family.
No, I can't.
Your family aren't close.
The money shot will be the walkout, of course. That will be coming soon. Well, after a battering like this, there's bound to be a storming out. You can feel it coming.
We let you into our house, we give you our trust, then you call me a liar. Yeah. And I don't like being called a liar because I've never lied in my entire life.
How often does your mum go up to your offices in, where was it? The ones in London. The ones in London.
No, we closed down the office in Hanover Square a year ago.
Any minute now, they'll walk out.
Last night you turned around and you said you go up there once a week. What are you talking about? If you live in this world, right, where you actually rely on half-truths, then you've got to be on the ball. You've got to be on the ball. You're not quick enough. You're too slow. Don't talk rubbish.
And here it is.
Oh, shut up, all of you. I'm fed up with it. They're full of crap. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. They're fucking mad. They're insane. Get rid of them.
It's me who's walked out, and not them. Who'd have thought it? The simple fact is, I couldn't stand their lies and self-delusion any longer. The Harrys clearly adore the fantasy world they've created for themselves. Just listen to them.
God, you've got some problems, Keith. Carry on with your dysfunctional life that you have.
Good luck in your career, mate.
As I left Cardiff, I wondered why they'd ever agreed to make this documentary in the first place. Surely they'd realised that we'd uncover their fraudulent degrees and discover that their lives are based on a lie. But the sad truth is that they're fascinated by television and only feel alive when they're being filmed. The even sadder truth is that television is fascinated by them, and people like them, and that's why it keeps returning to them, year after year. It's symbiotic. So there they'll continue to sit like some exotic tribe dressed up in traditional headgear in a third world national park, sitting and waiting for the next TV crew to turn up.
All right, thank you.
Boys, you're off.
Okay, let's go.
Go home to your family.
On a phone, rushing